Today I get to sit down with Annaliese, and she is from Wisconsin, and they have a dairy farm, and she's a mother, a wife, and have some exciting things going on through the social media side of things as well. So, Annaliese, if you wouldn't mind just kind of starting us off by telling us a little bit about yourself, just to kind of get things going here.
For sure. So yes, I'm Annaliese, also known as Modern Day Farm Chick on the social media world. I am a wife. I am a twin mom. I'm a dairy farmer. I consider myself an advocate and a mom trying to get by. My role on the dairy farm. So my husband and we farm with his parents. His parents started the farm in 1986. Back then they started with just about 60 cows. So they started milking about 60 cows back then, and gradually grew to our current herd size of, today we milk about 750 Holsteins.
Wow.
We milk our cows 3 times a day on the farm, but we also have 11 employees to help us care for our herd every day. Now, my twins, who will be 3 in September, I used to work side by side with my husband all day, every day, but now my role on the farm is more part-time, and I'm more of a full-time butt wiper. So
That's great. So I know you mentioned this was kind of your husband's farm that you guys are now running. What about you, as far as, did you have an agriculture background, or did you kind of marry into it?
Yeah, so I grew up on a 1,500 cow dairy farm in Wisconsin, just a few hours away from here. I had 2 younger sisters. We were all very active on the farm. I actually went to school at UW River Falls for dairy science, and that's where I met my husband. We were both active in the dairy club and met at a dairy club event, and after graduating, I followed him back to his family's farm.
Okay. The dairy club, that seems to be a very popular, almost dating hub for the people I've talked to as far as dairy goes. Seems like everybody gets their spouse in the dairy club.
The place to be. The place to be.
So as far as kind of where are you guys located in Wisconsin? I know, and also probably, so as far as Wisconsin goes, obviously a huge dairy hub. Where kind of, are you guys close to other dairies, or are you kind of in your own little world?
So our farm is in Ettrick, Wisconsin, which is a very small town near the La Crosse area. I would say, I mean, there are a lot of dairies around here, but I think that really condensed dairy area is more in the Green Bay area, Madison area, not quite as many near us.
Gotcha. What does your guys' milk go towards? Is it fluid or something else?
Yep, fluid. So we ship our milk through DFA, and it goes to some nearby creameries where it's bottled for Kemp's.
Okay, gotcha. So for that process, I mean, you said you guys milk, 2 or 3 times a day?
3 times a day.
3 times a day. So how much volume of milk are you guys getting kind of in a full day?
Our herd averages about 95 pounds of milk. It's been a little bit less lately because the heat really takes a toll on the animals, but that's usually our average.
Okay. And with all of that, have you guys been impacted? I know there was some awful things with COVID and everything as far as dairies go. Were you guys impacted by all of that at all?
Yeah, definitely. When COVID first struck, the milk price really took a hit, and it was so frustrating as a dairy farmer because we know we have the supply. It was just a really big distribution issue getting that milk, to the grocery stores. It wasn't going to schools anymore, and just rearranging everything. But it is under control now, thank goodness. But yeah, super frustrating there for a while.
Yeah, I know. I talked to, I think it was Becca Hilby, who they weren't physically impacted very much, but they had some farms around them that had to dump and all that kind of crazy stuff. It's crazy how, one little thing impacts the entire chain, and the chain reaction of it all, for sure. And I think this was just a good reminder that everything kind of depends on everything else, and agriculture is no different.
For sure.
With you guys being a family farm, I know you guys said you had some other employees as well. What are the kind of dynamics? I think sometimes it's hard to work with your family. How do things play out on your guys' farm?
I'd say for the most part, pretty well. Everyone kind of has their own section that they're in charge of. So we don't butt heads much, I don't think. I'm mostly in charge of calves. My husband is in charge of the lactating animals. He does everything from herd health to, milk quality, making sure the employees are milking the cows well, all that stuff. My father-in-law, he takes care of the nutrition side of things and feeds the cows. And then my mother-in-law takes care of all the book work.
Gotcha. So really a family affair in terms of keeping everything running, really.
Yeah.
For you guys, in terms of, well, actually, so in terms of, you obviously are on social media and you have quite a following on kind of all of your platforms. There's also a lot of kind of negative media, maybe towards the dairy industry. How are you kind of combating that and showing your story through these platforms?
So I've been sharing my story on social media for, gosh, I feel like it's been 5 or 6 years now. And I remember my first kind of negative vegan activist attack, and it just broke my heart. It made me so upset. How could people say these things? Don't they understand? Like, this is not what it's like at all. And it made my blood boil. But now that I've gone through a little bit of that, you're more callous to it. You realize, these people aren't worth my time. I'm not going to spend time commenting, engaging with them, because I'm not going to change their mind. They're just there to kind of spread their propaganda. My time is better invested engaging with those who actually consume dairy products and want to learn more about where their food comes from.
So with that being said, what has been kind of your goal maybe behind sharing things, and why did you decide to get into the world of social media?
Yeah, so for so long, I followed other bloggers like Dairy Carey, and I always knew sharing my farm story was important, but thought, we've got Dairy Carey, we're good. I don't need to do anything. And from time to time, I would share blog posts from Dairy Carey with my grandparents, my maternal grandparents, who aren't really familiar with the egg industry. And there was one post on animal abuse that really resonated with my grandma, and she was like, "Oh, this is so well written, Annaliese, great job, this is so informative, blah blah blah." And she had thought I wrote it, and I corrected her and told her no, another dairy farmer wrote it. But it kind of got me thinking, like, oh, I could do this, I could blog, I could share my story. So I did, and initially it was just a way to share with my grandparents, show them what I do on the farm, what I'm up to, communicate with them. But it just kind of blossomed into something much bigger than that. And I'm just happy if I can help one person feel more comfortable about the food they're putting on their table, then that means the world to me.
Absolutely. I think there's such a, well, and part of the reason I think I started this too, there's such a disconnect between consumers and the producers that are helping to put that food on their table. What is your main audience? Is it people involved in agriculture, or just kind of the average Joe consumer?
I think for the most part, a large percentage of my following is fellow dairy farmers or fellow people in agriculture. I think on Instagram, I'm getting a little bit wider audience just from the whole twin mom thing, and motherhood and getting people in that way. So, yeah.
What do you think? I mean, we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but connecting with those people, I feel like it's so hard. And even, sharing the story and being visual to these people, it's still hard to kind of grasp those just common consumers. How are you attacking that and kind of choosing to take that role on?
I think the best way sometimes to talk about agriculture is to not talk about it. So when I'm on social media, I try to share everything, right? Like I'm more than just a dairy farmer. I'm a mom. I'm someone who likes to shop. I have hobbies. We go canoeing. Like I'm just a regular person. So I try to connect with people that way first. And then, come out, hey, I'm a dairy farmer. Do you got questions about milk? Or, it's just finding that common ground.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the best way to do it. And just showing people that, like you said, I'm a real person and have the same type of struggles that anybody else would have, just maybe not just on a dairy farm where there's dairy cows in the backyard. For being a woman in agriculture, I think sometimes there's a little bit of a, I don't want to say negative stigma, but there's a little bit more, there's more challenges maybe that women have to face. What are some of the ways maybe you've either handled some of those challenges or some experiences that you've gone through being a woman in ag or a woman in
Oh
ag?
yeah, for sure. I think things I've experienced, I'll be sitting in the farm office and a salesman will come in and they'll be like, "Oh, it's you. I was looking for Tom, my husband." And it's just like, what do you need? They assume like I don't know anything. They just want to talk to the man. And it's like, well, I can help you. What do you need?
Right.
I can drive that skid steer. What do you need?
Yeah.
So I guess, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I think there's just this like stigma that we can't or women can't maybe put in the hard labor that men can, or that our role on the farm is just being the farm wife and taking meals and all that kind of things, which, don't get me wrong, extremely important, and that role is necessary to kind of keep things rolling. But I think it's important for people to also see that there's so much more that can be done, and we don't need to have a fight put up when we try to do it, type of thing either.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a change for me when the twins came and I did take more of a stay-at-home mom role. It was really hard for me to I mean, it's just I know it's a temporary, it's this phase of life, like this is where I need to be. This is what my family needs me to do. And one day, I will go back to the farm full time, but it was kind of hard because I've always been a farmer, not a farm mom, not a farm wife.
Right.
Definitely different.
Yes. What is your favorite part about being a part of the dairy industry?
Um, I mean, as far as just being a dairy farmer, I love being outside. I love working with animals. I love knowing that what we work so hard for every day ends up on somebody's dinner table somewhere. I mean, I think we all know that producing food and fiber is a very important job, and it's cool to be a part of it. And I think something that's very special about the dairy industry is our community of dairy farmers. I've met so many people through the Dairy Club in River Falls, through social media. It's just a very tight-knit group that is all very supportive and happy to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that kind of goes for the agriculture community as a whole as well. I know I was kind of removed from things and then got back into it and really didn't understand like there was a whole network of agriculture people on social media, and kind of finding that community was so refreshing because everybody's so supportive and friendly, and just wants everybody to kind of help each other succeed through everything that everyone's trying to do and show everybody else. So it's been a good niche to find for sure. But that being said, what is something that maybe you would tell somebody who has no idea about anything about agriculture, anything about the dairy industry, and you had a chance to kind of talk to them?
I think I would tell them that we care. I think people don't understand that farmers are real people. They just assume factory farmers, they assume, animal abuse. They just focus on the big headlines they see in the news. And at the end of the day, I would just want consumers to know that we're real people. We consume the same products that we're producing. We want safe, nutritious food. We want our land to be well cared for years to come. And for us, it's not just about doing the right thing. It's also our business. So we care for it in more ways than one, not just because caring for animals and land is the right thing to do, but also because that's how we make money. If we do a shitty job, we're not going to be profitable. So doing things the right way is how we survive.
Right. Yeah. And I think people think, oh, there's abuse and all of these things that go on when it's just a simple formula, really. I mean, if you put in, negative or not great care for things, you're not going to get a great result. And it's simple 1+1=2 type of math that people are not understanding, I think. And just showing them sometimes that we're in it. It's a business too, so there has to be money made at the end. And if you don't put that care and attention and all of that into it, then there's no money. And why would we do it if there's no gain for other people as far as consumers go, but also on a business level as well? So kind of to wrap things up here, I usually kind of ask you if you, and we kind of just talked about this a little bit, but if you could just kind of give a blanket statement about anything you want to share to somebody involved in agriculture or not. What's something that you maybe would just share with anybody listening, or something that you, like a motto that you live by, kind of?
Ooh, a motto that I live by. Um, I guess I would say, whether you want to be an advocate, whether you are a consumer, no matter what, know that your story matters. Whatever you have to share matters. And you never know what that message or who that message is going to resonate with. So don't be afraid to share your voice and share what it is you do and what you have to say.
Absolutely. I think that's perfect. Annaliese, where can people find you on social media, or your blog and all of that fun stuff to stay connected?
So my blog is moderndayfarmchick.com. On Instagram, I am modfarmchick. And on Facebook, I am Modern Day Farm Chick.
Perfect. Well, I know I definitely enjoyed our time together, and I hope those who are either watching or listening on the podcast also got some good information out of this. And be sure to go follow Annaliese and follow along on her family's journey and their story. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for having me, and I hope you have a great day as well.